Where we last left the party, they were still trapped within the realm of the Twilight Eternal, Adarhan's prison for those awaiting trial before the gods. However, in this interstitial plane, the party was facing their own trials, 8 of them to be precise. As before, they had each experienced memories, some lost, some forgotten, but some seared in their minds. And now, as they pressed forward, they all sit on the precipice of another of these trials, with 7 stairways to choose from. You had just passed the trial of self-deception, at least everyone but Relandir.
After receiving the news from the butler of his failure to pass the trial, Relandir shrugs and goes to follow the rest of the party, going down one of the nearby halls.
As Brynjar leads the party down the stairs, they wind in a familiar fashion before you once more come upon a large room that seems somehow architecturally detached from the stairs and the room above, as its dimensions should go far and beyond what would be otherwise possible, given at least as much of it as you've seen.
Is the architecture itself different, or is it, the same kind of...
Stylistically, it's the same.
Okay, it's just, it looks too big.
Yeah, like the ceiling extends to a point where it should be intersecting with the room that you walked down from, yet it doesn't. This one, however, is much different than the first room you were in. Instead of this garden bisecting this long rectangular hall, you see simply in the middle of this circular room an altar. A small object upon it that is, in reality, too far away to get a clear picture of what it is, but it looks like a small instrument from this distance.
Barty, Val, do you notice any of those magical runes?
We can certainly take a look.
If either of you would like to roll Arcana.
I would. Can I roll investigation?
Yes, though if one of you is doing that, I would require the other one to roll Arcana.
Yeah, Barty's better at Arcana than Val. 19.
25 on Arcana.
As you examine the stones in front of you, this floor, how it's laid out, though they are parceled out into these even cobbles, there doesn't seem to be any other tampering like you realized in the other room.
Bartholomew half-heartedly, not half-heartedly as in he doesn't want to do it, more of half-heartedly, and he finds the exercise excessively tiring. He turns and he just looks towards Brynjar and he says, I don't see anything that we should be afraid of.
Neither do I.
Good. Where's Relandir?
Relandir kind of pushes his way, as they're forming along this wall, I'm imagining, kind of raises his hand slightly. I'm here, Brynjar.
Very well. I don't know what our next trial is, but perhaps it would be best if only one of us were to approach this pedestal, as the last room we were in seemed to have an unexpected surprise. It didn't do anything, but you never know.
So, Brynjar, would you care to go forward? Make it 2 for 2, as it were.
Of course, Vermark. What, do I look like a wimp?
Why did you ask Relandir to come forward then?
I did not see him with the group.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Relandir is really only the second most impulsive of us all. And to prove his point that there might be someone who's more impulsive, he's going forward and he's grabbing at that instrument.
So I guess how far away were we from just coming in the room to this altar, approximately?
Very far. Far enough to not be able to tell what's on top of the thing.
Well, never mind. Seems the little one's going anyways.
Relandir's kind of circling the room, getting a little bit closer as Barty approaches. He just wants to observe and see if anything is happening as Barty gets closer.
All right, as Barty makes a beeline and Relandir kind of spirals toward the middle, Barty, of course, reaches this pedestal altar shape first, and you see that the instrument upon it is more of the surgical variety. It's a small knife, precision crafted, and meant for precision cuts.
Well, we got ourselves a little knife here. Looks well made. Cuts clean. I'd say you'd use it in some sort of surgery, maybe. It doesn't look quite stout enough to cut through bone, but looks like it can get through flesh all right, without tearing out too much.
As Relandir circles around the back, you notice that there's a small pail on the other side of the altar that is obscured from the front view, but Rolandir notices it.
Noticing this, Rolandir makes his approach a little more direct, and he goes to hoist the pail to show it to the rest of the group.
As Rolandir picks up the tin pail and kind of shakes it around, you hear things clanging and clattering within it. And upon further inspection, you see what appear to be about a dozen or so knuckle bones.
Oh.
And Rolandir rests this pail on the altar, kind of standing now next to Barty. Well, I think it's rather straightforward then.
Barty looks right back to him and says, well, hate to say it because I know you just got it back, but, I mean, it'll only take a few cuts. I can probably get it back to you when we get out of here. I'll need a little bit of time, though. One sec, let me check that.
And, as Barty's kind of rummaging amongst himself, Rolandir turns back to the group and just waves for them to approach. I think if this test is as simple as it appears, it could be finished quickly, but we all will have to pay some price.
Can I inspect the pedestal itself to see if there's any writing or runes or anything on it?
Yeah. As you don't have to roll because you're passive.
It's crazy high.
Is quite high enough. There don't seem to be any runes, at least deliberately, though there do seem to be different nicks and scars in the stone top, along with a good amount of discoloration.
Okay. So you put your hand on the pedestal and cut your knuckle bones out.
So I guess, after kind of waving the others over and turning back to Barty, Rolandir just looks at his right hand, the one that he has now, but he has lost in essentially the real world. Kind of wiggles them a little bit, and just looking at the bones in there, is it apparent to him that these are like the pointer finger bones versus the pinky finger bones? Like, are they sizable or are they tiny?
They're sizable, but you don't have the medicinal knowledge requisite to differentiate them.
If only Luca were here.
Yeah, if only Luca would be like, I see, this is the distal metacarpal.
Yes, exactly.
Before anyone does anything rash, I being Bartholomew, who somewhat darkly suggested we cut off Rolandir's hand, is going to at least attempt to examine the bones. He is proficient in medicine. He unfortunately does not have as good of a thing. So he's going to try to look and he's going to see, as far as he can. Do these bones all come from one place? Does it look like he can construct something? Or does it look like they are all the same bone from various different people? That is his goal.
Make a roll.
10 total.
Oof.
Ooh.
It's easy enough to see that there's kind of like a bell curve in distribution here. Like a vast majority of them are on the smaller side, say like the tip of a pinky. And then working outward, there are larger and more disparate bones. Though they do all seem to come from extremities, feet or hands, as far as you can tell.
Barty, first off, communicates this to everyone, then says, "Nah, I feel like we have two options. We can all lose a little bit of something, or one of us can lose a lot of something."
What makes you think that a single person would count as the sacrifice for everyone?
That would be my question, yeah.
I am under the impression that to succeed at these trials that we are given, some sort of moral lesson is being taught. So I'd imagine that something like making the greater sacrifice for your fellow companions could be a contributing factor. Or it could be something of everyone needs to suffer a little bit. I don't want to say that I know, I just think that that could be an option.
And Barty, can you look into the bucket again and see if any of the extremities come from the same individual?
Nah, I couldn't tell you. They're so old, desiccated there. I have no way of discerning. They could very well be from the same person. They could very well be from different people. There's a large variety in size. I can just tell you they all come from hands or feet. Nothing bigger than one of those bones.
No worries. Allow me to look. And if I may, I would like to also look and see, with that specific question in mind, do any of these come from the same person?
You'll have to roll medicine.
Plus 6. 14.
It's hard to tell. They're too aged, honestly. I mean, just from mere observation, they could all come from the same individual if the same individual had, 6 pinkies.
Barty still has the instrument, right?
Yeah, it's just hanging out in his hand.
So while, this discussion is going on, Rolandir really hasn't stopped looking at his hand that, he's kind of just been, touching his fingers to one another and wiggling them around. And he looks to Barty and he says, I've technically already lost this. It might be worth putting your theory at least to the test that potentially one sacrifice could count for multiple. And he just reaches his hand out and he places it on the altar. And he reaches his left hand out to Barty.
Seeing his determined status of doing this, if you say so, he takes off his belt, hands it to Rolandir, bite down on that. He turns to Brynir and he says, "You're going to need your belt to cut off the blood flow towards the end there." And he is preparing to chop off Rolandir's hand.
Yeah.
Wait a second there, Barty. From my examination, I can't tell if this comes from a single individual. It may not. I think that we need to discuss this before you make such rash decisions.
Now, I understand that. I do, and I believe, in fact, if I could speak for Rolandir here, correct me if I'm wrong, there is great reason to that. However, Mick, I want you to think. Would you be able to appropriately strum that lute of yours without your finger? Would Brynir be able to hold his axe with the firmness he needed, lacking even a pinky? I think that there is something to be said for the man who just recently regained a hand to lose that again. Now, I will not do this without Rolandir's permission. However, I do think there is a certain sense to it. But you're right. Maybe we should consider that.
I agree. There is a certain backwards sense to this. But I would just like to point out you are making some very wild assumptions. There is no guarantee that this would work. There is not even an indication that it would work. All we see are these fingers in the bucket. And somehow it makes the most sense to cut off Rolandir's good hand right after he got it back, who is one of the few of us who wields a sword. If we really must have a hand, which I highly doubt, it should be mine, or Val's, either one of us.
No, Val nods. He agrees.
We do not require the use of both hands to cast intent. In fact, I do not require the use of even one hand to wield the scythe that I obtained from the university. So, if we are to proceed in this extremely foolish course of action, it should not be Rolandir.
I agree. If I may as well, we don't even know that we are supposed to cut off fingers or hands and put them in the bucket. Yes, that is what, context clues, but what would that achieve? Are we trying to gain passage to somewhere? What does putting blood or body parts in this bucket accomplish in the long run?
Just kind of setting his left hand on Barty's shoulder, Rolandir turns to Vamok and Val. I don't think there's really any use pretending that there's actually any sense to the things we're doing down here. We're meant to suffer. Or, if the butler is to be believed, we're meant to learn something. In which case, Vamok, what good would it do to sacrifice something that technically isn't really a sacrifice? Like you're saying, it's something that we could do without. If you were to lose your hand, if Val was to lose his hand. I think if this is to be the trial, shouldn't it be something that really means losing something? A piece of ourselves?
We don't know the purpose of the trial.
Yes, I was just about to say the same thing. Who knows if sacrifice even is the meaning of this?
The purpose of the trial. There is no purpose to these trials. It's the folly of the gods, toying with us. We're merely extending what little time we have here left before they finally decide they're tired of us. Send us off on whatever other whims they have.
Rolandir, then what is the point to any of this? Why don't we just give up and not go through any of these trials? I say we've decided to move forward, and yes, we should move forward, but we should be smart about it. I don't think that, as I said, that we should be so quick to make decisions. I think that if there's anything to learn here, and through our entirety of being together, we need to listen to each other. My goodness.
I have a proposal. What if we start with a finger, and then if you so deem it necessary, perhaps we move on to a hand. But even the finger I am still hesitant about. However, judging from this room,
And Vamok takes a look around, just kind of scans to see if there's really anything else here.
Not a thing.
it would seem that this is really one of our only courses of action. Unless we try to simply leave and come back later. I am willing to give up a finger, just to see if anything would happen. It is not an idea that I enjoy, but it is an experiment.
Vamok, perhaps before a full finger, perhaps just a joint. And for me, I'd be willing to do that. As long as it's my right pinky. I don't need that for strumming.
Now, I don't see much of a difference who it comes from. I do think you have wisdom, Vamok, in deciding to start with the finger. So if you'd put your hand here on the altar, we'll start there. I mean, we're not going anywhere without these. And if it's all the same to you, I don't know if we want to exert the same amount of effort into every test. The last test was us walking down a staircase and through a trapped hallway and then walking back. So I am inclined to believe that simple is in fact the solution. And turns to Rolandir, gesturing for the belt that he gave him, to hand to Vamok, still holding the scalpel.
Now,
And Vamok places his hand on the table.
you may take any of the knuckles at the tips of my finger, except for the thumb.
So Rolandir, who's already standing there, holding the belt in one hand, he is kind of staring at it for a bit, and he looks back at Mick, and then he turns to Vamok. Very well then. And he sets the belt down on the altar, if Vamok would like to grab it. And then he takes the scalpel from Barty, and he goes to cut off the tip of the pinky finger.
Before anything happens, what if we just walked away?
Rolandir looks back at the place where they came from. Is it still wide open?
Yeah. I mean, that is an option. We could have just walked away from the last one. I mean, we did.
Technically, Brynjar was standing on, a trap at that point, so...
Oh, no, that's true.
However, then it comes back to my point of, what does any of this mean? What are these for? And as cynical as I may feel about it, there has to be something, right?
Well, we were told we all passed the last one, whatever that meant.
Personally, I almost feel as though this trial is meant to ask us not to do the most obvious thing.
But wasn't that the point of the last trial?
Perhaps we need to learn it again. I'm not saying I'm right, I'm just offering another course of action.
That is an idea, Val. This is an obvious route that we could take, as we explained before, cutting off our appendages. But what about your option? Perhaps we take the knife and go upstairs and call it an evening.
Barathi just says, nah, I don't know that we lose anything by doing that. We could, in my mind, at worst, merely be required to come back down, which then we're back to finger. And so unless anyone is completely against it, there could be a certain logic to it. Or we failed as a group for not being decisive enough. So I think really at the end of the day, we just need to act. Be it going upstairs or chopping off some fingertips. We just need to do it.
Very well. I'll see you upstairs. And Brynjar starts leaving.
Cool. Barty will follow.
So will Val.
Kalnias throws up her hands and follows suit.
I love her.
Mick will also follow, but will take the dagger. Or who's holding the dagger?
Rolandir's holding it, about to cut off Vamok's finger. He only stopped because Val talked. As they're turning and just starting to do that, Rolandir just glances up at Vamok.
Oh, great. We left these two dumbos there alone at the altar.
Mick is still there.
Cat is still there.
Mick and Cad, come on.
Vamok, with his hand on the altar, says,
Perhaps this is a test of our unity. Perhaps it does not matter what we choose, so long as we are unified in it. That is also a wild conjecture. There is no way of knowing if that is the correct solution. But this seems like the kind of things the gods would hope us to learn from a trial such as this. So,
and Vamok lifts his hand off the altar.
We all passed the first one. Maybe we can afford to all fail the second.
As Vamok lifts his hand, Relander actually exhales, kind of a held breath that he had.
And he accidentally, flicks the knife and it slices off the tip of the finger. No! And then Cthulhu gets summoned.
He replaces the cutting instrument back on the altar and kind of shoots a glance at Cad, who I'm assuming is just kind of standing there watching us, and gives a little nod and then follows Vamok in the direction of the stairs.
Mick, now seeing that Rolandir and Vamok are leaving, is going to pick up the dagger and will follow in suit.
Are you just keeping that in your hand? Or are you stowing it somewhere or what?
Yeah, Mick's going to actually put that in his boot.
As you all ascend once more, after the last person has crossed the threshold into the octagonal room once more, and no one is looking back at the stairs, the next time someone looks back, that passageway has been sealed by a flat, featureless wall. The butler waits, arms folded, sitting at this table, saying nothing.
Relander at least is going to just go, and he's not going to sit down because he knows there are other paths they can go to, but he gets close enough to the table that he can, address the butler and look at him. Well, how did we do?
Do? Why, on whatever do you speak?
Relander's just going to nod and turn back around.
The trial. Did we pass it?
What do you believe?
I believe it depends on what the purpose of the trial was.
And what purpose would that have been?
It could have been if we were willing to sacrifice something of ourselves in order to proceed. Or it could have been choosing a unified course of action. If it was the latter, then we all chose to leave, and we would have succeeded. If it was the former, none of us elected to give up a part of our fingers, though some were willing.
Then the question stands. Did you partake in the trial of unity, or was that the trial of sacrifice? I will merely say this. It was neither. For in one camp, yes, you would have passed, and the other, a select few who were at least willing. No. That, my dears, was the trial of flesh. Whether you passed or failed. And he just gives a small shrug. The other pathways are open to you.
Trial of flesh. What, you want us to eat the frickin' flesh from our fingers and leave the bones like finished chicken wings in the bucket?
You fail to notice the KFC on the side of the pail.
It says popcorn chicken.
That is finger licking good.
Lick those fingers just a touch too much.
Ugh. Rolandir just kind of shoots Val like a grimacing look, but not too angrily. And he just gestures towards the staircase that's next to the one that they had just come from, which is now the wall. Shall we?
Resigned, Cad and Calniace will follow.
Very well.
I mean, Barty follows as well. He has no reason not to.
Val will follow. He will give a look back at Rolandir that says that he stands by his decision.
As everyone follows Rolandir down, this staircase is a tad longer than the other two that you encountered, with quite a few more switchbacks. But as you finally do reach the bottom, you feel a warm wind on your faces and hear the chirping of distant birds. And as you step outside, it seems that when you look around, it's just open fields and forests. And over the nearest hill is a small hamlet. People, humans it would seem, mulling about, going to and fro. And distant mountains, undisturbed by cities or civilization. Looking back at the stairs, it seems to be encased in a very tall pillar that stretches up into the sky, disappearing into the clouds.
This is a strange place. Such a thing as this could exist, but then again, the fact this whole realm exists is quite the anomaly.
Well, we tried to think out of the box with the previous trial. Why don't we take the obvious path? and Mick is going to start walking on the muddied road.
There's a distinct crunch of paper beneath Mick's foot as you take your first step.
Oh, what's this? And Mick picks up the piece of paper, and does it have anything on it?
Yes, it seems to be a wanted poster depicting some kind of goblin-esque creature, quite unfamiliar to anyone of the New World, Agadon, but to those who come from the Old World, it's a very familiar caricature.
Vermak, look at this. Does this remind you of anything?
It reminds me of the pests from the Old World. Interesting. Now why would the gods show us something like this? In any event, it looks like this may be important to the trial. We should keep it with us. Perhaps we can find more information once we reach this village.
Does this particular pest have a name given to it? A reward of any kind?
Mick looks down.
That information is obscured by wear and tear.
Mick answering Redlander will say, it appears that my boot stain covered that up. I apologize profusely.
Presumably, we can find more information about this and whatever else is going on here further in the village. Relandir continues walking.
We follow.
It's not a long walk, just a hill. As you crest it and head into this small village, people seem to be in pretty dirty medieval clothing. The village is in disrepair. There's a little stand in the middle, like a grandstand in the middle of the town. And a crier is there. And not only is this person just in hysterics, but as they see you, they leap off of the grandstand and come running through the mud. My goodness, finally! You must be here to help us! Heroes, at last!
My new favorite NPC.
Relandir kind of being up there with presumably Mick as well there. He just kind of glances at whoever's nearest to him. Yes, something of the sort. Is this about the goblin?
Oh, yes! That mad fool has been terrorizing us in our village for months. You are here to put a stop to him, aren't you? You're all quite able-bodied.
Thank you for noticing. Yes, of course.
But I must ask, who are you all?
My name is Relandir. These are my companions.
I've never heard of you. You must regale us with your tales first. If you are to come into our employ as heroes, we must know you are such.
I think Mick probably has a tale or two.
A tale or two, or 5, or more. I'm sure that you've heard of me. Hello, I am Mickey. And Mick puts out his hand for him to kiss. And a beautiful jewel.
He shakes it, doesn't kiss it, and says, I fear I have not heard of you.
Mick kind of smiles at the
Mick
ground
doesn't
like...
know how to react.
Yeah.
Never heard this before.
Mick kind of smiles at the ground like, oh. Anyways, it doesn't matter who we are. It's more of what we're here to do. How can we assist you?
Well, these goblins have been accosting our town for months, as I said. But I must know who you are before we bring you into our employ. How can we be sure we can trust you? How can we be sure you're up to the task?
Because if I wasn't up to the task, I would be dead before I came back to tell you that I wasn't up to the task.
My oh my. Then you've encountered dangerous things before.
Yes.
That might be a bit of an understatement, to be honest.
This man points to the grandstand, and you kind of notice that the town has stopped their activities and has started to congregate around you. Please, do share.
Do you want us all to share, or can one person share for the group?
I'll leave that to you.
Well, as my dear compatriot here said, we are travelers from afar. Some of us closer than others, actually. But never mind that. We've encountered many foes and fought off all of them successfully. With a few blunders, of course. But as you said, you identified us perfectly well before. We are heroes, and we're here to help you. Is that a good enough an introduction?
I'll leave that to you. I just want to make sure you're qualified, of course.
What sort of qualities would you wish us to possess?
Well, you'll be facing off these goblin hordes.
Very well. I will tell you who we are. My name is Vamak. Together with Rolandir, we defeated the Leshen, a spirit of the forest. We have come face to face with gods and lived to tell the tales. I have seen things living and dead coming up in the night to harrow me in my sleep. Together, we have all sacrificed much, but also have gained much. We have faced foes, great beasts, evil beings. I have been poisoned, I have been blinded, I have been stabbed, and yet here I am, living still, ready to face any challenge. Those who travel with me are not faint of heart either. I have seen this one,
he says, pointing to Val.
Despite his youthful look, he has called down thunderings and lightnings from the heavens. He
nods over at Brinier.
has cleft many a foe, rending their bodies in twain. That's not even using his axe. Rolandir,
He says, pointing at Rolandir.
has battled many a foe with only one hand, and that was before he got it back. Mick has inspired the hearts of men, women, and children alike through his music and his tales. This small one has brought me back from the brink of death too many times to count. He,
Motioning towards Cadagas.
I have seen him move mountains, throwing great throngs of people into the air, shifting the landscape before my very eyes. And she, I am sure, has done a great many good deeds, though I do not know her very well. That is who we are. There is none who can withstand us. I do not think that this goblin will pose much of a problem for us. Does that tell you enough about who we are?
After an uncomfortably long silence, the entire village bursts out laughing.
Oh no!
The town crier doubling over, like head between his knees almost, before he stands up, attempting to compose himself as he wipes tears from his cheeks. He's like, none can withstand.
As his head is coming up, it goes right back down as Vermont grabs it and smashes it into his knee.
Get out of here!
Whammo! Boom! I'm a godborn mother effer! Arm wrestle me right now! Get your freaking arm on the table!
Get in the mud!
None can withstand.
Very well. Have it your way. Get your best men and come fight me yourself.
We're not fighters, you imbecile. We're farmers.
Then what would you know of any strength?
Brynjar, it is all right. Obviously, he does not want our help. Very well then, we shall leave you in peace.
No desire. It is no question of desire. It is simply a question of... You see, we here need the help of strong-willed heroes, not a circus of charlatans. Meeting gods. He's like as if he's having these inside jokes with the villagers around him. None can withstand us.
Vermont kind of
None
looks
can withstand us.
around at the group, and he nods to everybody, and then he turns around and he leaves.
Where is the goblin horde exactly?
Don't worry, when they show up, we'll be sure to call on you, heroes of yore.
Barty turns to everyone else. I guess Vamak, I don't know how far you've gone yet, Vamak, but if you're still within earshot, he's talking, loud enough that presumably everyone in the village can hear him. The crier can definitely hear him. The group can hear him. He says, now, I do not generally favor stealing from people. However, I do believe this could be an opportune moment for us to appropriately equip ourselves for the upcoming trial. So, unless the lesson we're being taught here is restraint, I see no reason that we do not instead merely attempt to take what supplies we can. If a goblin horde shows up before we leave, fight off a goblin horde.
Oh yes, please, please, mighty hero of stature unbecoming. Would you like a rake?
I'm just imagining we're in a huddle and this guy's still in the back, like, oh, good one.
Barty walks with all of the power that can possibly be demonstrated by a 3'6" being of stocky proportion. And he's gonna grab this man by the short and curlies and give it a stout twist.
You can sure try.
Okay, he will try.
Roll grapple.
Sure, is that just a strength roll?
Mm-hmm.
That's 17.
You do not grab him as he kind of just jumps back, and everyone noticing this attempt laughs even harder. And then someone throws a hoe at your feet and is like, "There, take it. You'll need it." "Oh, is that one too long for you?" The cat is like, "I'm done with this." And Cad starts to follow Vamok back toward the staircase.
Hang on a moment. I think we should stay and fight.
Stay and fight what? Their bullshit? Goodbye. And Kelnius leaves.
I love her.
Kelnius follows Cad and Vamok. I don't know how far Vamok has gone at this point.
I mean, he's not walking super fast, but he's also not like,
Just try to stop me. You know?
Yeah.
he's like actually walking away.
You know, the village folk are parting as you pass and laughing.
Mick is going to regather the group as much as he can, or at least gesture to all of them, and say, "Now, Barty, I agree that we need to be properly equipped, and perhaps part of this trial is to prove ourselves that we are, in fact, heroes. Understand that..." Yes, Barty, do you have something to say?
Barty is emotionally unstable at most points, and it turns out having someone make fun of your entire existence when most of your existence consists of turning into a bear and murdering your own son is a bridge too far for his mental stability. And he will take that hoe he just grabbed and he will go on as much of a murder spree as he can in this town. He is going to start swinging with abandon.
If Val can prevent this in any way, he would like to do so.
Brynjar, who is still there next to the town crier, actually stops Barty, like grabs the hoe, and then goes up to this town crier, sweeps his leg, and slams him to the ground.
Well, you can try.
This town, they can fight their own battles. They seem way stronger than any of us, so...
Is this strength?
You'll do strength versus his dexterity saving throw.
Sweet. That's 27.
Ooh.
Yeah, nope, he jumps away.
Nimble little guy.
Dang.
They laugh even harder at this attempt. And Brynjar feels a little tug at, like, you know, because you're just all wearing simple clothes, trousers and tunics. You feel like a little tug or a little kick or something at your muddied tunic and pants, you know, because you walked here and it's a muddy square. And you just hear this woman like, "Oh, my knight in shining armor."
You wish.
Bartholomew has still completely angered, and again, not in any way in a healthy mental state. What are the buildings made out of?
Thatch, wood.
Is there any open fire anywhere in here? He will literally start looking through buildings. The only way that Barty will stop attacking will be either literally being carried away and or falling down from exhaustion and then being carried away.
So Barty has left the laughing circle.
Yes.
The box stops. He sighs. Then he turns around. And he goes back. And
You hear a voice call over your shoulder from a portly townsfolk. "Where you going, big boy?"
going up to the town crier, not bothering to even try to stop Barty, just let him do his thing. He'll peter out eventually.
Val will stop Barty if no one else is going to stop Barty.
Okay, Val can go do that. Vamok is just going to say to the town crier, and he'll say,
Do you want our help?
Well, you don't have any weapons. You're not wearing any armor. I've never heard of you. Your achievements are mythological, almost. Unbelievable, to be frank. Yet you think you can take care of our goblin problem? I mean, by all means, feel free, but I think we'd rather pay you after the fact.
I said nothing about payment. I simply asked, do you want our help?
The town crier calms down a pinch as you level with him. And he takes in a deep breath. Oh, well, I can't deny it. Why not? If you are who you say you are, done what you say you've done, go on then. Help. If you see so fit, if you think you are truly up to the challenge. Though I must warn you, the goblins will probably not be as receptive to your comedic act as we are.
In that case, I want to hear you say it. Tell me you want our help.
My dear blue boy, I don't believe I can honestly make those words escape my lips without a sense of irony in them. So if you'll appreciate that at least, then sure, I'll tell you what you want to hear. We... we want your help.
And people in hell want ice cream. Doesn't mean they get it. And then he flips him the bird and walks away.
Double birds.
Oh, that's good.
No,
That's so
no,
good.
no.
And he's starting. Oh, okay, you don't do that.
No, unless ice cream is canonical in medieval, Crapville.
So while, that show boating has been going on there, Rolander's just been looking for any signs, kind of weaving through the townspeople who are laughing at him, pointing probably, but he's just looking for any visible signs of these attacks, like looking for any trace of the goblin's presence in the town.
The town kind of has a look to it as if it's been rebuilt that very morning.
It's about to have to be rebuilt this very evening, too.
No, we are not burning the village down.
You are not. I am.
But there's no, distinguishing footprints that are very clearly non-human or tracks or anything.
No, in this muddy square everyone has been about. But however, as the sun is now at noontime, right above you, you hear a bell sound in a distant tower on furthest side of the village. And the town crier and everyone, they kind of die down in their revelry and their mocking of you. And everyone starts rushing into their homes and their huts. And the town crier's like, oh, it's that time of day. The goblins are coming.
Val does not know if he can use intent here, but he would like to try to use intent if he can to raise maybe a 30-foot ring around the town, like a little barricade protector thing out of the earth.
You feel the exact same way as when you tried to use intent back in the outside of the Twilight world. As the town crier is looking around and people are starting to actually leave the way you came with different sacks and bundles and bringing their children and whatnot, the town crier looks around and he says, I can see you're all quite well armed. But if you do require something additional, Bacchus has a good many tools and such in his possession. And he points over to a blacksmith shop across the way.
Can I insight check this garbage that's happening?
Yeah, insight check all you want.
Okay, I just am curious about this fool, this cat. I don't care for him. I did not roll well. It's a 15.
He's telling the truth. In fact, it all seems rather routine.
Okay.
To him. This seems like a tried and true, less of a danger and more of an inconvenience at this point. Let's real quick get an update on the rampant dwarf.
If he has found fire, he is trying to burn something down. If he has not found fire, he is looking for fire.
He has just now found the blacksmith shop.
If there's a convenient forge still lit, that's where he's going.
It's a cold forge with rusty weapons.
He will move on to the next place. He is looking for fire.
None of the abandoned homes have fire.
Inconvenient. Okay.
Well, they're not dumb. They're not going to leave a candle burning while they flee.
No, that's absolutely
The
fair.
oven's on! Ah!
Seeing Barty just frantically searching around and around, as soon as the blacksmith store is pointed out and seeing Barty kind of shuffle out of it, Rolandir yells out to him, Bartholomew, please, direct your rage towards something productive. go pick up a weapon and let's take care of these goblins.
And at that, you do hear a cacophonous roar from over the nearest hill and the forests beyond as birds scatter into the air. A collective groan and moan and cry as an unseen mass approaches the village.
It's about time.